Hello friends, it's Vicki with another Whimsy Stamps video for you. Today I'd like to share with you how to use some die cut techniques on cards. I'm going to show you how to make this one in particular. And what I'm going to use for this card today is the Basic Border Trio dies from Whimsy Stamps. And I'm going to use the Deco Bracket in particular. For my card here, I'm going to show how you make the shape design that you see. And I'm also going to be using the Get in Line stamp set again to make my background. And I'm going to use something else besides the Misty in order to stamp it. And I'm also going to be using the Thanks word die from Whimsy Stamps. And I'm going to show you a fun inlay technique using this die cut too. So to get started, I have a gray card base. This is an A2 sized card with a side fold, and I'm going to make a shape out of this. This is slate gray color from Stampin' Up. It's an 80-pound weight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this die cut bracket border on the edge, and I want to keep it as close to the edge as possible. And once I have it lined up where I want it to be, I'm just going to tack it down with some painter's tape and run that through my die cut machine. So an important part for you here to note is that when you carefully, and I do mean carefully, take the painter's tape off, because when it runs through the die cut machine, sometimes it gets tacked down a little bit. And you have to be careful when you lift it off. But what's important is you keep that bottom piece, because that bottom piece that you see I'm doing right here is I'm lining it up on the opposite side. This is going to help me line it up so they have exact placement where the other one was. And once you have the die cut taped down, you can just take that little piece off, and then you can run it through your die cut machine. And I do have to apologize. My voice is a little nasally. I've been fighting a cold for the last few days, so I do apologize for my voice. But anyway, you're just going to carefully take that off of the other side of your card, and then you have a fun little shape design, and you can turn this either way that you feel the need to turn it. It works great either way you open it. So I'm going to stamp I was going for a masculine theme, so I'm kind of making like a flannel looking plaid design here. And this time I'm using the Fiskars stamp press. You can use your acrylic block for this too, but this Fiskars stamp press is a wonderful little tool. And I love it because you can hover around it. And to keep my paper from sliding, and so I don't get things uneven, I tried to keep it as straight as possible. So I used some painter's tape to tape it down to my grid paper underneath. And this is just going to kind of help ensure that I get things as straight as possible. I'm just inking it up with some slate gray ink from Stampin' Up, which is the same color cardstock that I used. And I'm going all the way up in my lines. And then I'm turning it vertically and stamping with the same image on both vertically and horizontally. And once I'm happy with that, I decided to pull out some stitch line from the same Get in Line stamp set. And I'm going to continue on with the slate gray ink and ink that up in, I guess, I didn't really know. I was just inking it up in various places and making a little flannel pattern, like a flannel looking shirt or something I was going for. And I wanted to keep it gray, looking for a masculine theme. And then once I'm done with that, I took the painter's tape off. And in order to get the bracket, now you could just cut it off on each end and line it up with your card, but I also wanted the decorative edge to be on the plaid too. So what I'm doing is I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my painter's tape ready so that I can tack it down when I have it placed. So in order for me to see where I need to put the border die cut, I'm holding it up to a light source. You can see I'm holding it up over to my left corner, and you can kind of maybe see where the line is. And I'm just going to line it up with the gray card base that I have. And then once I have it where it needs to be, I'm tacking it down with the painter's tape. And then I'm just going to run that plaid piece through my die cut machine. Now this is the exact same thing you want to do for the card base. You want to keep that little bottom portion, because then you're going to turn it over on the straight edge side, and then you're just going to line it up so it's exactly in the same spot where the other one was, and then you don't have to worry about holding it up to the light and trying to line it up that way. And once you have it tacked down, you can just remove that piece off to the side, and then you can run that through your die cut machine and carefully take the painter's tape off so you don't damage all the plaid work you did. And so now I'm going to show you how to make an inlaid die. So to keep things flat so it's not sticking up, I'm going to show you how to do an inlay. I'm taking the Whimsy Stamps Thanks Word die, and I'm kind of lining it up where I want it to show up on my design over the plaid. I'm going to take some more painter's tape, and I'm just going to tack it down once I've got it where I think I want it to be. And then I'm just going to run that plaid piece through my die cutting machine. And then I'm just going to take that off. You can see on my cutting plate that I have all the leftover pieces. You need to keep all the leftover pieces, and before I run it through my red, the Thanks Word die through the red cardstock, I need to keep all those pieces. And I think I'm panicking because I thought I lost a little tiny piece of it, but it was on the cutting plate. Whew. And I don't have a little bowl, so I need to make sure that I save those teeny tiny pieces. So I'm just using my tape roll as a way to protect what's in there so that I know where they're at. And I'm just going to pop out. There's two tiny little pieces on the T, and then there's that little piece through the H. So now I've run the red cardstock through the machine with a thanks die, because that's the thanks die I want to use. And those pieces I don't have to worry about keeping. I can just pop those out. Those are the same pieces that I saved inside the tape roll. So now to inlay the die, I just fit it right into the plaid like a puzzle piece. And you're thinking, but you didn't adhere it anywhere. So what I did is I took some packing tape, and it's the same width and it fits so nicely in there. So I just placed it right over the back of it so it sticks all nice, and there's adhesive on the other side. So now what I can do is I can take these little tiny pieces that I saved and just fit them back into the little holes in the T and the H right where they belong, and tack them in there, and the packing tape is just going to hold that down in place so it just fits together. And here I go, I lost it again. It kind of blended in with the plaid, so be careful, don't lose those tiny pieces. And then you just tack them in, and the packing tape is just going to hold it in place, and you smooth it over, and it's all done. So now I've taken the painted sayings stamp set from Whimsy Stamps, and I think it's such a cool set. I love this set. I used the For Everything in there, and then it also has some really cool like ink or water splotch looking images. And I'm taking some more of that slate gray ink and inking some splotches up on there. The For Everything was inked up with some cherry cobbler, which is also Stampin' Up too. And I've also decided to make a little tag on the side of it. So I used the Everyday Mini Sentiments from Whimsy Stamps and stamped the You Rock in it on a piece of scratch paper with some of that cherry cobbler ink. And I just cut a little piece off and rounded the corner edges of it and added it to the side of my plaid flannel panel there. And I have a cool looking bracket shaped card for a wonderful masculine feel. And now I'm taking some Doodlebug Silver Sprinkle enamel dots for a little bit of a sparkly water effect to finish off my card. I hope you've enjoyed my die cutting techniques using the Whimsy Shapeology dies. Thanks for stopping by.